Welcome to Who Let the Moms Out? Uh, pod,
Wow,
I,
you
yeah,
interrupted me there.
I'm so sorry. It's funny because I didn't think you were gonna do it. We have this delay on the audio, and it's the worst thing ever. Can't wait till we're like in person recording, so we don't have this anymore. Um, but this is what it entails to live across the world and try to do things together.
Yeah,
If you're
how to
new
grow
here,
these nests together. But
yes, but although with 12-hour time difference, wild.
maybe that's why the sound is just traveling really far.
Right, it has to go really far so that it takes. If you're new here, welcome. This is a podcast where moms get together to talk about all things motherhood. All topics are welcome, and we have zero judgment towards anything because my God, this is hard. On today's episode, we are going to talk about why we don't like being pregnant. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna title the podcast today the one where we hate being pregnant. And that sounds really strong, but we just want to sort of have this conversation because I feel like there's a lot of stigma out there, a lot of like portrayal of motherhood as this like beautiful, serene time to reconnect with the goddess within. And all of that can be true. And I have felt layers of that and days of that and even weeks of that, especially with my first pregnancy. But I think that especially as you transition into pregnancy as an already mother, like if you're pregnant when you already have kids, but also for a lot of women from the get-go, um, it can be so challenging. And I think that this picture that is portrayed of like this perfect time that you're just gonna love and you're gonna glow, and it's just for the ones of us who are not feeling that way and haven't felt that way for like 9 consecutive months, we're like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing
What am
wrong?
I
What's
doing
wrong
wrong?
with me? Yeah, what's wrong with me? Like, am I broken? Why am I not,
And but you always have to be grateful too, because it's like you are making life. So it's like, why am I not
Yeah,
feeling grateful? Why do I not
exactly.
feel gorgeous and beautiful? Because I
Hmm.
am making life, and it's like
Hmm. And the guilt that comes
it
from
is very hard.
not feeling that way and then not having anybody to talk
Oh
about it,
yeah, yeah.
how lonely that gets too. Because and also, like I remember my mom used to always tell me that she, with me, she got beautiful and swole and big. And I don't know why this is the way that she described beauty, but that's how she did. She got
I was
big
gonna
and
say the same, right?
beautiful. Well, it's because my mother was in Cuba
It's
and there was
impressive.
like there was scarcity, and like so for her to gain weight was like a
Yeah,
she was very happy to do that,
it's like a yeah, it's like in Madeira
Yeah,
as well. It's the same way. It's like,
yeah,
being fat is beauty.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it just means that you're living a good life. And with my brother, so her second pregnancy, she was like, "Oh my God, I look like a bird that was beat up by another bird. Like, I didn't gain weight. I was sick the whole time. I hated everything and every la 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 la." And I was just like, "Damn, but don't tell him. Like, that's horrible, Like, like, she would tell us this, And I was just sitting there going, like, damn, I would hate to be the kid hearing that. But this sucks, man.
Yeah, it does suck. It does.
Like, I'm not gonna tell my child
It's
that,
very
her
true.
pregnancy sucked, but until she's old enough and, she wants to get pregnant, I'll let her know how, what to expect. But like I'm not gonna go around telling her my pregnancy with her sucked, but this sucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's different ways of doing it. So, like, not you shouldn't attack your child because your pregnancy was bad. You know what I mean? Like you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, because of you." Because I've
Yeah.
seen like
Hmm.
a lot of like parents do this, and it's just like, "Oh, because of you," which I don't think is the right
Obviously.
approach. But you can obviously be like, "Yeah, when I was pregnant with you, unfortunately, it was
The
hell
pits.
breaks loose."
The absolute
Yeah,
trash.
it's like
Yes.
my body does not like to be pregnant. You, however, you are a precious little bean that came out of
Right.
my vagina. However, the process of the baking in the oven is the not
Oh my
the
God.
greatest process.
I have a funny anecdote really briefly before we come into the questions.
So,
I was telling
yeah, well,
Alaska keeps asking me when her sister's coming, and I keep saying that it's not ready because she's being, she needs more time in the oven. I'm like, oh, la estamos cocinando, we're cooking her. And she looked at me and she was like, "You can't cook a baby."
I
I was
can't
like,
believe she got
"Oh
in trouble.
no."
Oh
I was
no.
like, "No, no, 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 no. How do I explain that? Take it back."
God, that's
So,
really funny, actually.
all
Okay,
kinds of
let's go
winning.
on to question number uno. Uh, oh, where go? Okay. Okay, so what was your expectation for this pregnancy? Like, so before you were pregnant, like when you were looking at yourself pregnant, what did you envision? You envisioned like, you know, feeling all powerful and energetic and, like everybody described, or did you actually, envision it somewhat this way?
Well, like, especially because I already have had a pregnancy, I was expecting it to be because a lot of people say, and obviously it's wishful thinking because a lot of people say that second pregnancy is harder. A lot say the second pregnancy is easier. But of course, like you're just hoping for the best. So I thought I was going to feel better or at least the same. Like I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Like, for example, with my first pregnancy, I had just the first trimester morning sickness. And so I was like, great, like, you know, fine. If I have a morning sickness, it'll be just the first trimester. And I stopped vomiting like 2 weeks ago. I'm 35 weeks pregnant, and it's just
Yeah.
like that alone has done a number on me, like emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. Like I'm just like, God, where are you? Who, like, is there anybody out there? Like, you know? And it sounds so dramatic, and I know I'm gonna look at this or listen to this later and be like, wow, you're just crazy. Like it's not that bad, because at the end of the day, I think the wildest part is that you go through all of this and none of it really matters because the reward at the end is so worth it. You have your kid and you just forget. And it's funny
Yeah.
because when I think about the I've had a natural unmedicated home birth before, and I plan on doing the second time. And when I think about the pain, because it's painful AF, it's the childbirth is obviously, like I haven't experienced an orgasmic birth or like one of those births where you're just like enjoying whatever the fuck you're enjoying. And for me, it was painful as fuck. Like it was just painful. Um, but at the end of it, I've never felt better in my life about myself and about my decisions and about like it was just so empowering to birth my baby that way and just know that my body could do it with nobody's help. And it's almost like a rite of passage. Like I feel so empowered, and I'm wondering why my brain is not capable of feeling this way about the 9 months of pregnancy. Like I can go through this tremendous pain, horrible crying, soul crunching pain and despair and thinking I can't do this anymore. Like I'm gonna rip myself open, like and here I am thinking I will do this a million more times, right? Because it's worth it to feel that way, that empowered, that self-sufficient, that whatever it is, right? But why can't I feel that way about the struggles of the 9 months? Is it because it was longer? Is it because it's just too long? Like I do not want to struggle this long. Where's my epidural? Like what is it? Like I'm having such a
Yeah,
hard
I feel
time.
like it probably is that. It's like the
Yeah,
longest because it's just in 9 months is a long time, and when you're giving birth is like a day, 2 days
right.
max. Like that period, and the pushing as well is not that long. But
I also feel like
yeah,
it's
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 just
it's
it's
a
very
it's like physical pain you can endure. Like I'm always like I can do anything for a short amount of time. I can endure physical pain. I can deal with
yeah.
this. But the mental toll, that 9 months of feeling completely inadequate and unable to, and just, you know,
And it's not just that as well. Like there's so much like your whole body changes, like your organs move around, and then you have your night routine where it changes completely. You start waking up more, you start sleeping less. But yet you are carrying an extra weight, and you are carrying life, and you're making life, and somehow your body is telling you not to rest. He's like, yeah, no, you need to be awake right now. And it's like, how can anyone one like be enjoying this when it just sounds so exhausting, like it's everything is just thrown at you, and you're expected to just accept it and be like, yeah, I'm grateful my body is doing this, I feel like a goddess and stuff. And it's just like that is not happening. Like I'm just tired all the time. Like
right.
the first time I was, well, the first time, the only time I was pregnant was during COVID, and luckily I was just sleeping. I was napping all
Right.
like I wasn't even working. So, um, and now if I would get pregnant again, like I don't even know how I'm gonna like even cope and move.
That's a thing that I honestly has been surprising to me. I am the same size now as I was with my first pregnancy, and it wasn't like my first pregnancy was when I was 19. I was not developed. I'm fully developed. I'm 35. I had it at 31, so it's not even that big of a time difference. But this time around, physically, it feels so challenging. Like I'm walking around the house and I'm just like, I mean, obviously your body, and this doesn't happen to everyone. We're all different, but your body can carry, you know, injuries or traumas or whatever from the first pregnancy, right? Things that shifted, like for me was the pelvis. So that's
Hmm.
one of the reasons, right? But I think even if I didn't have the pelvis pain that I'm experiencing, I think it just feels so heavy. And I wonder if it's because I'm
Yeah,
already like, because when you're a toddler mom, you're always carrying things, like doing, I honestly, I feel like I'm working out all day long. Like it's exhausting, just like going from room to room in the house. It's like, oh, like getting out of the car is like this
yeah, that's
ginormous
crazy.
ball that I'm carrying around. And the last time it
Yeah,
felt like I
exactly.
was just bigger, like my whole being was bigger. So it didn't feel like I was lifting weights. It just felt like I was just
Yeah,
big. I don't know.
yeah. I felt big. I felt big and heavy at the end. Yeah, I was just not. Yeah, I hated it. Had to be lifted off the sofa, and then I had to work. Like I had my coccyx was inflamed, so I had to like say one of those hemorrhoid pillow things. But I didn't have hemorrhoids, thank for that. But I had like an inflamed coccyx, so I couldn't sit down or I couldn't stand for too long because then my feet would hurt.
Ay, ay, this sounds awful.
But yeah, it's magical, magical time, magical time.
And so the reason
All
this is
right,
so
sorry. Yeah.
I just want to say the reason it's so ridiculous. It's like if you look at us like, or you see us like online or whatever, like it's not like we're, these people that like, I don't know, I don't know what to compare it to. Like, I don't know who it would be adequate for them to have this experience, like, but I feel like under any other circumstance, like I'm not a person who complains about physical, I never experienced physical pain. Like, I consider myself an active, just I am baffled. I am just so baffled because I think for people that already have physical conditions or medical conditions, how much harder it has to be. And I just can't even
Yeah,
imagine.
and
I'm
they
just
still
like,
do it as well, which is
I
even
know
like so much more impressive. That's the one thing that I'm like always like, wow, I'm always in awe to
people
people.
with
It's
physical
just
jobs, physically demanding jobs. How do they do
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Today, this there was this lady today at the shop that she was literally heavily pregnant. She was even wearing a belt, and I could see from the back that she was really pregnant because she was walking, the waddle, and I was like, oh, bless her, she's struggling. So then, like, I even was like, go in ahead and you can pay your stuff before me. But she was like, yeah, no, 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 it's fine, no, 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 and just stood there for ages, and I was like, "Ah, bless her." I felt really bad. But yeah, but she didn't want to go forward, and she was just doing it. She looked fine, and she was just like, yeah, loving life.
Oh, dear God. Just a better
But
species
yeah,
of women, I guess.
I think so. They were they were made differently.
Something. Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're from Cuba.
Yes, that must be it. Yeah. I wonder if, like, 100 years from now, so, okay, when I was first pregnant, I went to visit this midwifery center that obviously I didn't birth with. But like this lady was like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from Cuba." And she was like, "Oh, Latinos gain a lot more weight than," and like, she's like, "Prepare." Like, it was the first thing she said. So this woman didn't even like, it wasn't even a 5-minute conversation. She's like, "Latino women gain
Mm.
a lot more weight during pregnancy, so just prepare to gain a lot of weight." And I was like, what? Like
Wow.
I was like 10 weeks pregnant or so, like what? Because I remember like anyway, and I just thought, but maybe in 100 years they'll be able to like study females all across the globe and see which people like what genetic predisposition or something. Like maybe it is something that we are obviously not aware of yet, right? But I look at women in other countries. Like I just finished reading a book about this woman in South
Yeah.
Korea, and they're diving, you know, like they're diving, they're birthing in the water because they're diving all the way into the last day of their pregnancy. And I'm just like, damn, like what? And like
Yeah.
2 days after giving birth, they're back at work, you know, tending the land, diving again. And I'm just like, oh, like that makes me feel
Yeah. I just feel like we are not built that way because we have been like subjected to so many like evolution really. And we were told that, pregnant women can't do this and can't do that. So we kind of like stop. So like we stop our bodies from doing things. And then we feel incapable of doing certain things. But undoubtedly we are also all different. Like we all our bodies like work differently and stuff. So we will all eventually one of us will struggle with whatever it is that we're doing, like especially
right.
pregnancy. So yeah, it's just we never know. You can never know. Well,
True.
it's
Very
like
true.
how we all have like sometimes you have some things in common. Like you will also have like a lot of things that will be completely different. Like, but yeah, it's amazing that they can do that. Like deep diving while pregnant. That's absolutely incredible. Like
You know,
what?
we're discouraged from diving here
But
in the
I won't do
States.
that. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
tried to
from
go
an island, but I won't
snowboarding.
do that.
I tried to go snowboarding with my first pregnancy and I felt comfortable enough to do that. In this pregnancy, I would have never. How crazy is that?
Interesting. That is crazy. That's interesting. I wonder how things are like. And then again, like as well, like the pregnancies, like even from your first to your second pregnancy, like how things can be different. Like, so what are the biggest difference from your first pregnancy to your this pregnancy?
Okay, well, first of all, the morning sickness that lasted forever in this pregnancy, and actually not forever. Because I know people that actually like to the point that they have to be hospitalized because they can't stop vomiting. That's worse. You know, at this point in my pregnancy, I've gotten really
Yeah.
used to just looking at the silver lining. And you know, it comes to this, I have to look at what other people have done and be like, no, I'm in a better position because otherwise I'm just dying of, you know, self-pity. So like the vomiting has been pretty chaotic. The This pregnancy, I felt a lot more nausea. Like with my previous pregnancy, smells didn't bother me. I wasn't craving things. Like it wasn't, you know, to this moment, I'm 35 weeks pregnant, and until now, I can't even look in the kitchen in the morning. Like it's just like, ugh, everything is ugh, you know, and that I've never experienced in my life before. So
Oh,
that's really annoying and really weird. Yeah, it's like I'm dying of hunger, but I can't even think about making breakfast because that alone will make me vomit. Like that's just insane to me. Last pregnancy, my feet swole a lot. This pregnancy, I haven't
oh,
experienced that. So there you go, Mira, something. Um,
oh, but actually, my feet swole the first pregnancy, literally the day before I gave birth.
no, I had a relatively long period of time in my first pregnancy with feet, like with the issue of my feet swelling up easily. And in this
Mm,
pregnancy, I haven't experienced that. This pregnancy, I felt a lot more like emotional imbalance. Like my hormones have been all over the place. Like I'm sure I had a lot of that in my previous pregnancy as well, but I couldn't tell. Like, you know, obviously you know yourself, so you're less annoying to yourself than to other people. I wasn't as neurotic, I feel like. But this pregnancy, from the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, my mood swings. Like this is crazy. Like how are people putting up with me, sort of
you've just
thing.
been annoying yourself.
Like to myself. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's crazy. Um, what else? The previous pregnancy, I feel like I woke up earlier. I just started waking up on this pregnancy this week. Like I started waking up at 3, 4 in the morning. And in my previous pregnancy, I feel like I was doing that way earlier. So there's that.
So you were less tired. Mm.
Probably because I'm just exhausted. And on this pregnancy, I just feel overall more tired and also in pain. I was not in pain in my previous pregnancy until the end.
Mm.
I was dilated 4 centimeters 2 weeks before I gave birth. So I was in considerable amount of pain for like the last 2 weeks because she was so late. Not late, but like she came at like 42 weeks almost.
Yeah,
But this pregnancy, I've been in pain the entire time almost since the second trimester.
yeah.
Like awful pelvis pain and lower back pain and oof, just like
All
but
out of
I
place.
think I'm hoping, here's the hopeful thinking, here's the silver lining, because I have to, right? Otherwise, I'm gonna go crazy. I think because I've been in pain for so long, the birth is going to be less painful, right? I'm gonna have
I love that wishful
euphoric and
thinking. I love that.
euphoric birth. It's gonna
Yes,
last through
you
it.
will. It
Somebody
will be
told me that the other
beautiful.
day. Somebody told me that. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I had a euphoric birth. Like I literally was laughing on my last contraction before I pushed my baby out." I was like,
I
okay.
I feel like the most vivid memory I have of my birth is screaming down the hospital, like while they were carrying me to the emergency bit, being like screaming, "I need to poop!" So euphoria wasn't it?
No. It's funny because they tell you that you like I remember I remember a friend of mine. She's so funny actually. She's from Ukraine actually. She's hilarious. She was just beautiful, like Eastern European. Like this woman was like the epitome of a perfect woman. Like she gave birth and a month later she was a goddess. I just, you know. And one day we were talking about birth and she has this beautiful baby girl and we're just talking and she goes, "Yeah, but don't be fooled because you will poop yourself." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you poop yourself." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "When you're birthing, you poop yourself." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." Like, I was traumatized. I was like 21 years old. And for some reason, even though I never forgot that you poop yourself, and then I did research and I was like, well, it's not everyone, but whatever. Even though I knew that you poop yourself, I never associated contractions or surges like the flow of labor with the desire to poop, but you really do feel like you have to poop.
Nobody ever said that. Why?
Why? Yeah, it's like this giant poop needs to come out of all of you, not just like your
Yeah,
butt, but
that's
just
exactly what it feels like. Yeah, it just feels
yeah.
like you need to poop. And I didn't have like so my contractions started like at 5 in the morning, so I didn't even have, and I was constipated for pretty much the whole pregnancy. So obviously, I had I had a lot of poop to come out, but it didn't want to come out basically. And I didn't even poop, but I felt like I needed to poop. I was like, yeah, I need to poop, need
So
to
you didn't
pop
poop
one
all that
out. So
poop.
like, no, like I said I needed to poop, so they sent me to the toilet with a little like cup situation. Little cup.
Those things are just like the panic that you have because you know how much it's gonna hurt. It's horrible. Was it the same or similar for you? Because you had a C-section.
Well, it's kind of like the same thing. Like it is. So I had to take pills because of clots and lots of things because it was a surgery. So my poop like went black because if I was taking iron or
Ah,
something. I don't
yeah,
know. There was like a lot of
yeah.
things I was taking because it's a massive surgery, and then it's also a problem because you can't push. So, like I did also the hypnobirth and stuff. And so I did the hypno pooping. I called it because I was having fun with it. So I had to breathe, and not in the butt bit, but in the belly, like pushing and stuff was not is really painful. So
So was it awful the first poop as well after birth for
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The first
right.
like week of poops was
Yes,
intense.
I feel like nobody talks about this either. Nobody talks about like, okay, you gave birth and the worst is over. Is it though? Is it? Because that first
What
few
about the first
poops,
pee? I and the
I don't
pee, like doesn't it like burn? Like
actually. I
I don't know,
remember
like
now that you
I always have
mentioned
the idea
that.
that like it probably burns and things, like
Yeah.
because obviously it's like a open sort of
Well,
wound
so
technically.
if I remember correctly,
Oh,
and I'll be able to tell you soon because I'll experience it soon again. Ugh. But I
yes,
think with
please.
my first, um, well, so I tore, and I had like there's blood coming out for a few days after birth, which for me turned into
Yeah.
like weeks actually. So I think there was just like so much coming out that I didn't even like. But now that you mentioned burn, I
Oh, I
have
didn't
this
like register thing.
vague, yeah. But now that I was you're in so much pain down there when you do a vaginal birth, like you're so sore
Yeah.
that I think the
So,
burn is
yeah, I
released
can
a bit.
only imagine.
But now that you mentioned that, I have this vague memory of sitting in the toilet and thinking, like why is it burning on the way out? I think it does
Yeah.
because like the pee with the blood. This
Yeah,
episode
it's
is
like everything is just TMI.
we should put a warning at the beginning of this episode.
I mean, I feel like people won't listen to this anymore. After they've listened to the first episode, they won't be like they already know what they're
Right, yeah, yeah. If at this point you're, shocked at anything we say, it's on you.
doing. So you entered at your own will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen at your own risk.
Okay,
It gets graphic.
this is my last question. Okay, was there one still are looking forward to?
I'm sorry, what? You're cutting off.
So, what is the one thing that you've looked forward to in the pregnancy, or has already happened, or is something that will happen? What is the one thing that you're like, yeah, when I think of being pregnant, this is like the thing that like got me through it.
I think I was really looking forward to the kicks. Because, before
Mm,
that, I feel like you go through such a long period of like being pregnant, but there's like you don't look pregnant, you can't ask people for favors because you're not really big or anything. Like, like you don't really have the right to be pregnant. It's like I always feel bad. Like, and this pregnancy, I was so small for so long. I feel like I was very small. I expected to be bigger faster because of second pregnancy, but I feel like it
yeah,
actually took longer. Then when it happened overnight. Like from one week to the other, I was like 85 weeks pregnant, but it took a long time to get there, I feel like. And I was really looking forward to the kicks. And now I'm being kicked a lot, like 24/7. Like sometimes it wakes me up with the kicks. Like the kicks are like, they're not just like a kick, they're just like straight up a dance routine. And it's happening like a few times an hour. So then it's like after, like by midday, I'm like, okay, it's getting tiring. Let's tone it down.
but
But I actually really like
I
it.
don't
So
have. Yeah,
it's one of those things where like I really enjoy the kicks because I feel like she's playing with me, and like I'm able now to hold like a foot. Like I can actually go like this on my belly and hold the foot, and I can feel her like, and then she comes back and kicks, and it's really fun. It's playful.
that is
Can't
really
wait.
cute.
I can't wait to have my baby in my hands and just
I always felt the kicks were the weirdest bit about it.
really like an alien in
Yeah,
your
I
belly.
don't know. Yeah,
Did
I
you
don't
not
know. But
enjoy?
again, like I didn't enjoy being pregnant. So like, and I always felt like I was just missing a connection where I did feel it.
Mm.
I don't know. Like I always, that's another thing as well. Like I always felt like bad or guilty because there was no, I don't know. It just felt strange. And it's like,
Did you
maybe
ever
I don't
enjoy?
want to.
Was it because he kicked a lot?
That's the thing. Like, I don't think he kicked a lot. He wasn't like, he would move, but I don't remember, like feeling like he was kicking a lot,
Yeah.
you know,
And my first was
for
also
someone that kicks so much now.
she moved plenty of, yeah. Yeah, yeah. My first one was plenty of kicking, but I never felt like, whoa, but this baby, like yesterday or the day before, I put a plate on my belly, an empty plate. And literally my brother and my husband could not believe they were just like she was like, get that shit off me, like straight up. Like you could see the plate going like this, like nonstop until I took it off. It's like it's insane to me. Like I didn't feel kicks like this in my first pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I had, like kicks here and there, but it was not like a choreography, like dance routine 35 times a
Yeah.
day. This
I
is
feel
like,
like I feel like I don't remember. I just don't remember it. I feel like I will remember when it happens again. Like you can compare, so like you'll just be like, oh wait, this is different type thing. Like I don't know. Like right now, like thinking about it, I'm just like, I don't know.
okay, I have a question for you because you've told me so many times that you didn't enjoy pregnancy, and I didn't identify with you before because I didn't feel like I loved my previous pregnancy. Like it wasn't like it was like the best time of my life, but I definitely enjoyed it. I had many, many times of enjoying it and feeling like it was great, right? And now that I have experienced a pregnancy that I almost have not enjoyed any of it, I can relate so much more with you. And I'm wondering, is there any part of your pregnancy that you enjoy? Like, is there anything that you can recall feeling like, okay, I love this? Because to the point where you don't even have
It
photos,
was
like
my
you don't have a lot of
hair.
photos. Oh, your hair,
No, I
nice.
have no. I have like 10 photos of me
Yeah, yeah,
pregnant.
yeah. Like you
Yeah,
didn't care
I
to like
felt like
document it. It's
my
just like,
no, no. Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was the my hair. Like I did feel like I was healthier. Like my hair was healthier, and I
mm,
actually enjoyed eating as well, which was something that I never really did. Um, So I did enjoy that, and it actually got me out of my shell on experimenting foods as well because I was like so adamant about eating everything. So the baby would have everything and avoid allergies, all of that shebang. I
Mm.
was even eating avocado. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. But so like it got me like I enjoyed that. Um, yeah, that was pretty much
My
it.
nails,
I,
my
I
nails
started
were
like
nicer last pregnancy too. Last pregnancy, I had crazy, beautiful long
yeah,
nails. My nails are stronger now, but they're not. But I mean, I'm also a toddler mom, so
well, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't feel my nails because my nails are have always been weak. But I didn't feel a difference in pregnancy
I
on the
didn't
nails.
lose
But the hair,
hair.
yeah, it was like
Yeah, my first pregnancy, I never
no,
lost hair. It was just beautiful, lush. This
no,
pregnancy, I thought I was gonna go
yeah.
bald.
I remember like thinking like, what is happening? Like no hair falls out of my hair. I'm like, and everyone kept saying like, it was something like people were like, oh yeah, but you got to lose your hair, but they didn't explain it. I thought it was during pregnancy, not when you breastfeed and not after
Right.
pregnancy. I was like, oh, all right, okay. And then postpartum, I was like, oh, I'm bald. Well, that was a I was so annoyed. I was like, what?
I didn't lose hair at my postpartum either. I didn't. I had this beautiful lush mane of hair for like a few years. Like it was, I
I
mean,
feel
it
like
left.
I feel like
I mean, I had baby hair growing, but nothing had left. Well, see, like now I am fine. But when we
you have
started,
extra hair, aren't you fancy?
no, but I don't know if you remember, but even just a few months ago, I had like literally bald patches. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like literally going bald. I was like, wow, this is insanity. And it was like the beginning of the pregnancy. You're supposed to be like lush and beautiful, and I just looked like my mom would explain it, like an old broom.
Yeah. I also, yeah, no, I, my pregnancy was like, I was only feeling good like from, I think it was like week 20 or something, all the way until like week 28 when you like the third trimester starts and then everything like starts hurting again. But then it was like literally like just a few weeks only that I felt great. But then my coccyx, like actually, it was even before that. I was in a day where I was still like 22 weeks, 23. And I was like walking around with my little pillow and couldn't sit down for too long. Had to stand up for a little bit, and people had to drive me home and stuff. And like I couldn't.
Oh man. Hey, you were living in London. Oh, but it was COVID, so you probably
Yes,
weren't driving around much or anything like that, huh?
no,
Because that's the
no.
thing. Like, I remember in my previous pregnancy, I had planned a road trip to Mexico City from Florida, for like way later in the pregnancy, and we ended up not doing it. And I remember thinking, thank God, because just driving in the highway was difficult. And man, all of that has come screaming at me right now. Like, I live on Big Island, Hawaii, so we have a lot of like off-roading situations. And I swear to you, leaving my house to get to the main road, it's a short, it will be like a 3-minute walk for anybody, but that car ride leaving my gravel driveway to get to the road is like I am like holding on like I'm off-roading into the Arctic or something, and it's just like
To their
the
life.
most painful experience ever. It's absolutely
Oh,
awful. It's so
no.
horrible. I can't
Yeah,
believe
I
I
remember sitting like for long periods of time, or even like just sitting for just wrong position in a car. Like it's just so uncomfortable.
yeah. Well, because
They did
you
make
have
that for pregnant
something.
ladies.
No, it's because you have something that's protruding and you can't really like it goes right where your legs are. So then you get this like pressure at the
It's all in the wrong places.
But all in
It's
all, it's a beautiful time.
guys, what you're missing out on so much.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna love him. Yes, yeah.
You're gonna
Let's
feel
end on a
beautiful.
positive note. Like it is hard. It is hard, but the birth afterwards and the baby and all of
The
that, it
birth.
will make it all worth it. And you'll forget. As I was saying, I forgot most of it. Like I remember not loving pregnancy, but I don't really know. It's fine. It's fine. If you want the baby, get the baby.
Uh, look, this is not everyone's experience. And I think at the end of the day, I don't know many moms. I've met several other moms who also dislike this whole entire season because we've been connecting over our self-pity online. So I know I'm not alone. But I also don't know any one of them who isn't glad, right, and grateful that they were able to have a baby, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's just one of those things where like we have a saying in Spanish. I don't know how to translate it. I feel like Sofia Vergara in Modern Family because the saying goes
Trying to translate the saying.
to translate the saying. The saying goes, ay, eres hija del maltrato. So basically, you're the daughter of being like mistreated. Like it's almost like you enjoy being mistreated. You enjoy the struggle, sort of thing. Is what it translates to. It
In
literally
Portuguese, in
translates.
Portuguese, in Portuguese, there's one like that too.
Oh, there
Yeah,
is.
there's in Portuguese there's one like that. Like, yeah, because it's basically like you start loving, so you start suffering type thing. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's like the
Yeah. And so I
yeah,
feel like this is what this is. It's like somehow you do this again. I will not be doing this again, but people do. This is my last pregnancy. My husband can do the next one if he wants another child. Um, he's more than welcome to go through it, because yeah.
should.
But that being said, having children is beautiful.
Beautiful. Please and share your experience with us. You might
Yes.
have a completely different experience, and we would love to hear that and
Yes.
support you.
Yes, the good and the bad. Come tell us over at Who Let the Moms Out that pod on Instagram. And don't forget to stay tuned for next week's episode where we will talk about something we love. Promise.
Yes. Thank you for listening. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.